Well, it's taken me until I've got into season 14, which I think is not bad going, actually, to just rage quit Football Manager 16, but I absolutely did that, and it's a result of the last game I played. Hello and welcome to season 14, episode 3 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and I've just about calmed down from turning the game off in disgust yesterday. I played another 5 or 6 games after recording the episode, and it's like we've got the reverse issue of the problems that we've had in previous seasons, where we played really well when the camera was on. Camera goes away, and so does anything resembling decent form. So you were last with me for... It was the Bayern Munich and Liverpool games, so Champions League and a league game. Since then, we did all right in not the Carling Cup, that was years ago. The Capital One Cup against Yeovil. But since then, we've not won a game. So what's that? 5 games on the bounce, so we haven't won a game. We lost 2-0 away to Man City in the league. We drew 2-2 with Milan in the Champions League. 1-1 away at Arsenal in the Premier League. 1-1 at home to Villa in the Premier League. And then, to cap it all off and just make me turn off in disgust, we went away to Olympiacos, the team that you would expect us to pick up 6 points against if we've got any chance of getting out of this group. Not only did we lose 2-0, not only did we concede another late goal, but we only had 38% possession against Olympiacos. We've made it look really, really difficult to get out of our Champions League group, which is a real shame because we managed it last season when there was no expectation on us doing it. This year, when league form has gone to pot, the board are expecting us to get into the knockout stages of the Champions League, and it's potentially the only thing we've got left to play for already, despite it only being October. It looks like we're not going to do it. We're after halfway through, 3 games in, and we've only got 4 points from our first 3 games. We've still got to play Bayern Munich away from home. We've got to play AC Milan, and then we've got to play Olympiacos again. So it's not looking good. Premier League also not looking good. I've got the distinct feeling I've overstayed my welcome at Ipswich. I think last year was the pinnacle. It was as good as it was going to get for us, and I probably should have jumped then. I got greedy trying to push on and win the league, which was never going to happen with this club. And we're back at our appropriate level this time around. 8 games in, we're only on 8 points. We're down in 12th place. We're already 11 points behind Manchester United, who are top of the league. Probably more worryingly, we're 7 points behind Arsenal, who are in that 4th Champions League spot. So again, it's already looking like Champions League qualification might be a struggle for next season. And while it's touch and go whether we'll even get into the Europa League out of the Champions League, it's not going well, and I was just so miserable that I turned it off. What that means is, rather than a carefully selected couple of games, you've got a quite a random selection. I don't remember ever showing a Capital One Cup game on this series before, but you're getting one today. We're playing Brighton at home in the league, and then we're playing Villa away from home in the Capital One Cup. And hopefully, because they're fairly meaningless games that would normally be played off camera, we'll just win them both, and it will sort out some form, and then we can maybe do another episode around about the Bayern Munich, Milan games in the Champions League after a bit of a run in the league, and who knows? That's my thinking anyway. That's what I'm hoping we're going to do. So to kick things off, let's go and play Brighton, because Sterling was playing for them. I'm not sure if he's still there, but hopefully he is, because it'd be nice to see him. Pascal Leader plays for Brighton as well, if I remember rightly. But this is the team we're playing against them. We've got Matt Lee in goal, Guiliani, Dane, Zabala and Lazarov at the back, Fritscher in front of them, and then Chris and Yusuf in midfield with Nuri in behind, Arendt and Fall. Arendt is in amazing form this season. Fall is just coming back from injury. Well, I've only got 6 substitutes. Oh, yes, because Stanek's injured, so I don't have a backup goalkeeper. So who shall I put on the bench? In fact, what have I got? Why do I always have all the youth players selected in there? Ellistondo's injured. That's why he's not playing, or else he would be in. What have I got on the bench midfielder-wise? Let's put Valverde on the bench as well. There you go. Who needs a backup goalkeeper? Oh, actually, Valverde's not doing very well for fitness. Well, we'll worry about that as and when it comes to it. Let's get into this game. Let's hopefully go and stuff Brighton, who, they've got Leader on the bench. No sign of Keziah Sterling, though. That's a bit of a shame. I wonder if he still even plays for them. He's probably into his 30s by now. Thierry Ambrose had quite a good season for Real Sociedad last season. He was their top scorer. Got about 18 goals. in La Liga. So it's nice to see him having a little bit of late career renaissance. I think it's his third best season ever for goals in a season. So he's become a hero somewhere else as well. But Sterling was a first choice for Brighton for a few years after he left us, but seems to be drifting down the leagues maybe or into their reserves. Christian Arendt's put us 1-0 up after only 3 minutes. That's already his 10th goal of the season. He's the one high point of a miserable season so far. The fact we've stumbled across some form of Christian Arendt again. That if we can get the rest of the team firing, they may as well be filing, to be honest. If we can get the rest of the team back as good as it was last year, get Modou Fall back into last season's form, now he's fit again. If we can play half decent football and have both Fall and Arendt in form at the same time, it won't matter how the rest of the team are doing because we'll score 100 goals. It's not going to happen though, is it? It's made me miserable. I might just resign, go and manage somewhere else. But, realism mode. I think it was Brian Clough who said never resign when you can get sacked because you get a payoff when you get sacked. He probably said it more eloquently than I have. But, why would I've just signed a 4-year contract at Ipswich in the summer. Why on earth would I resign when if we carry on as we are, they'll sack me before the end of the season and I get a big fat payoff of a 4-year contract. So, got to wait for that really, haven't I? Aronson again. I mean, he's been a revelation. It's fantastic having Arendt back. He's had his hair cut short as well, we saw there. He changes his hair as often as Lazio does. But, he's just lethal at the moment. He's back in that ridiculous form he used to be in, where he'd just score every time he got a chance. And it's fantastic when he's like this. It would be lovely to keep him fit for a full season just to see how many goals this kind of form would create. Because at various points, he's averaging a goal like every 60-65 minutes, which is absolutely insane. But obviously he only plays 25 games a season because of his constant little niggly injuries. If it wasn't for them, he would be a world beater. Right. Nuri finds Chris. Out to Giuliani. Crosses into Arendt. The man has his hat-trick. What a player. And a couple of people have said in the comments lately asking how much money he's earning now. I think I have mentioned previously, but just as a reminder, the summer after he came back on his ridiculous contract with the 50% annual wage rise, before that first 50% wage rise kicked in, he did sign a new deal with us on a slightly increased salary with no wage rises. So that contract that we were so terrified of never actually came to be. So he's still earning around about £100,000 a week. I think it's slightly under. But yeah, who knows why he agreed to take that clause out of his contract. Obviously, he either loves me or loves the club or or it's because it's a game and he didn't realise I was ripping it off. But for whatever reason, we managed to sort him out. Modou falls in. Hey, did they just combine? Usually they don't acknowledge that the other one exists, but this is a Christian Arendt cross for Modou Fall. Look at this. I mean, Fall's not fit yet, and he's already got his 3rd goal of the season. That's encouraging. He's obviously carrying on in the same crazy form he was in last season. Hopefully, Arendt's going to keep going as he is. We just need to keep them both fit. And suddenly, I stopped being so negative. Right, let's make some substitutions. Nuri, I mean, this is the problem, and I think this is where a lot of the problem stems from. We haven't got an attacking midfield player. I think we're going to need to change the system. We've got a lot of good central midfield players now, so I'm potentially leaning towards a 4-1-3-2, but it just feels really negative. But like now, for example, we're going to have to stick Lazio on for Nuri because he's the only option. We're going to take Fall off as well because he's not fully fit yet, so we'll give Oliveira a little run out and give Arendt 20 minutes playing as the poacher that he loves to be, although he's got a hat-trick playing as the complete forward so far today. They were just, I think they were pulling Yusuf back there, looking at that. Yusuf is a good penalty taker. He'll score this. There you go. He'll make me look a fool now. There we go. Yusuf knows what side his bread's buttered. He's not going to make old Kev look a fool. I'll tell you what, this is quite good fun. Playing against a rubbish team we're supposed to beat on a live com. 5-0, 20 minutes still to go, no pressure. Let's not look at the league table. Let's pretend that's not there. Look, league table's gone. We don't need to worry about that. We'll pretend we're having a good season. We'll bring Vossabelt on for Chris. We'll just enjoy these last 10 minutes. No, the league table's not there. We don't need to worry about that. You know, Champions League football, blah, blah, blah. We didn't play Olympiacos last week. We still remember playing Bayern Munich. Ooh, should we just pretend the last 6 games haven't happened? Reset. Is it too late to turn the camera off and reload a previous... No, we don't do that. Oh. Never mind, eh? Right, well, there you go. We beat Brighton 5-0. Let's go and play Aston Villa in the Capital One Cup. I suppose it's an opportunity to see a bit of a rotated side, because who cares about the Capital One Cup? Even the board don't. Here you go. Look, I promised you a rotated squad. We're probably going to get absolutely battered, because Aston Villa are quite a good side. We just struggled to draw within the league, but we've rotated as much as we can rotate. We haven't got any backup goalkeepers because Stanek's injured and Garrett's left. And Lewis Norris, who's been around since he was about 12 and he's still only about 22, 23. And I'll just give him contracts forever because he came through our youth system. He's out on loan somewhere. So Matt Lee has to stay in goal. Other than that, it's all change everywhere. The only player who was in the side that played against Brighton is Fritzsche, but he's moved position out to right back just to give Lazarov a little bit of a rest. And we've got plenty of cover in the holding midfield position if Fritzsche does pick himself up a knock because I've not rested him. The rest of the team, we've got Walker Peters coming back into the side at left back, and then Bosman's at centre back with Elizondo alongside him. It was a bit of a coin toss between him and Bazoa, actually, in fact. No, I mean, it makes no... In fact, I'm going to stick Elizondo there just because he's a better anchor man, and we'll give... Yeah, he can play. Mr. Former Barcelona man can play centre-back alongside the young Belgian kid. So Bazoa and Bosmans as the centre-backs. Elizondo is the anchor man who's struggling for match fitness. He had a little bit of a knock, so probably isn't going to play out the full game. And then Negra and Vossabelt in the central midfield with Mesadoro behind Lacio and Oliveira. It's a star-studded bench. So if it does all start to go wrong, I can panic and get some of these players injured, even though I didn't play them from the start. So there's plenty of positives to be had. Villa are the favourites for the game. They're playing pretty much their full-strength side. We are going to get absolutely hammered and undo all of the good work that win against Brighton did to our morale, but it does get the Capital One Cup out of the way. And because we don't have very many of the first-team regulars in the side, it hopefully won't hit morale too hard. And then there's always the chance that a star emerges from this game. It tends to be what happens every now and again. Not every time you do it. Sometimes you just get thumped. But sometimes you mix the team up like this and a player emerges who wasn't really in your thoughts before. And there's a few of them just sort of bubbling away on the fringes of the first team who aren't really getting a chance. The two summer signings for a start, Bazoa and Elizondo, haven't really had a chance for me yet. What with injuries and just general not being able to get in past Fritzsche. But this could be the opportunity for one or both of them to establish themselves in the team. Who else have we got with the potential to do that? Both Vossabelt and Negra could show me why they should be forcing more regular spots in midfield ahead of Chris and Yusuf. And of course, there is Lacio, who for so very long was our first choice striker, but for the last year or 18 months or so has had to sort of be first reserve for when Aaron or Fall are injured. He might want to go out there and prove a point. He's the captain today. He might want to show us why he should be the first name on the team sheet like he always used to be. I've managed to waffle for almost the entire first half. Nothing's happening, which I suppose is in our favour, really, because we're the ones playing the reserves. And for it to still be 0-0 at half-time, that's not too bad. It shows that we've actually got some strength in depth for the first time since I've been at the club, really, which is nice. I don't know what Vossabelt was trying to do there. And, Matt Lee collects. I don't want Villa to go in 1-0 up at half-time. That would be upsetting. I think for the second half, I might swap Elizondo and... Oh, fiddlesticks. What did I just say? I don't want Villa to be 1-0 up at half-time. Goodness sake. Well, that scuppers my plan. I was going to swap Elizondo and Bazoa over just to give each of them a try playing the defensive midfield role. I mean, that is Bazoa is out of position now. He's not a centre-back. But when I signed... my justification to myself of signing them both, because we didn't need to bring in two more holding midfield players, but I got excited because I wanted a former Barcelona superstar and I wanted this guy who looked brilliant. So I ended up having to sign them both with the justification that, well, they can play at centre-back or central midfield as well. So, yeah, this is me justifying that to myself today. I'm just going to swap them over. Give them both a go. Playing where they want to play, really. Ellistondo's 6'4" as well, so should be a commanding presence both at centre back and as the anchor man. He was the best player on the pitch as the anchor man in the first half though, so I probably shouldn't have messed with it. He was perhaps the only thing keeping it to 1-0. I tell you what though, he's just scored, and he wouldn't have been in that position if he'd have been playing in midfield. That was a centre back's header. Mr. 6'4", we were just talking about him. Look at this. I mean, he's a big lad. He might be our player who emerges from this game. I want him to get fit, and I want him to be our first choice holding midfield player. But he needs to get Fritscher out of the way, which wouldn't have been an issue a year ago. But he really has come into his own playing as our anchor man since we switched to this diamond. Right, Arendt's on. Who else? I might take Bazzoa off. In fact, I will, and I'll bring Nicolas Dane on. And I'm going to stick Elizondo back there. There you go. 2 of the big guns are on. Come on, Villa. We're coming for you now. Get out of our way. Elizondo probably should. Milani's in goal for them. We had him on loan. If this is the... Can we click on him there? I want to look at him. Is this the lad we had on loan from Leicester? At the same time as Mika. For goodness sake. Leicester had 2 goalkeepers. They had Mika. They had Milani. One of them, we had them both on loan, and we had the choice, which one do we want to buy? We spent £5 million on Jaroslav Mika, who's probably working in Burger King now. Milani plays for Villa, played in the Champions League. Ridiculous world that I live in. Right. Oh, have we just won the wall back? Ball back. Larsio isn't going to be the man who cements a place in the side for himself with flailing shots like that. Right, let's bring on our final substitution. I think Larsio's got to be the man to come off. We'll bring on Modou Fall. We'll switch those 2 around. And we've got the 2 big guys up front now. Come on, we're going into extra time, hopefully. Maybe. We might score yet. We've got to fancy ourselves with a fresh Fall and Arendt against a tiring Villa defence. Surely. Milani wasn't that good. We should be able to score a couple against him. Right, Arendt to Mesidoro. Mesidoro over to Fall, who I don't even know what he was trying there. I don't see how he was offside, but I also don't see how he was trying to threaten their goal. Just seemed like just a mess, really. Right, Elizondo not doing himself any favours to be our regular starter in that position with a wild pass that has set up this Villa counter-attack and led to their goal. Fritscher wouldn't have done that. I'm paying £250,000 a week to have those 2 holding midfielders at the club. I can't keep playing Fritscher, the reserve right back we brought in, just because it said Wonder Kid next to his name, who's now earning £100,000 a week because he's played 5 times for Germany, and I forgot about the clause. Villa have absolutely smashed us today for shots. They've had 3 clear-cut chances, 24 shots. I mean, we're lucky to still be in the game. We're lucky to have taken it to extra time. And we're quite unlucky that several of our players are now really struggling for fitness. Good job it's the second string. But I think we're going out of the Capital One Cup here. Not that I'm really bothered. But it would have been nice to just take it to penalties, maybe. Oh, Lee, don't risk yourself. I mean, he could have got an injury there. That's all I care about. Let them score. It's the 121st minute of the Capital One Cup. We don't care. You don't care. Don't go and get yourself hurt trying to stop us going 3-1 down when we can't get back into the game. Hopefully that's message received, Matt Lee. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all the stuff that's up and coming. And thank you very much for watching.